This was supposed to be a victory lap, a moment of unity for the biggest names in hip-hop. But with just one verse, a celebration turned into a war, dragging one of the most respected artists of his generation into a fight he never wanted. It was a conflict that would ultimately drive a wedge between two longtime friends and collaborators. This is the story of how J. Cole's verse on First-Person Shooter accidentally lit a firestorm, blew up the whole idea of the Big Three, and left his friend Drake to fight one of the biggest rap battles of the decade all by himself. For years, hip-hop heads have been debating one question: who's the GOAT of this generation? Is it Drake, the chart-destroying global superstar? Is it Kendrick Lamar, the Pulitzer-winning lyrical genius? Or is it J. Cole, the people's poet? For a long time, they were the Big Three, the holy trinity of modern rap. Then, in October 2023, it seemed like they were all finally on the same page. But what started as a friendly shoutout on a track between Drake and J. Cole set off a chain reaction nobody saw coming. It just goes to show, in the world of hip-hop, even talking about peace can sound like a call to war. To really get how this all fell apart, you have to understand the dynamic these guys had for over a decade. Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick Lamar weren't just rivals. They were peers who all came up in the same blog era of the early 2000s and 10s. They'd been on tracks together, they toured together, and for the most part, they kept it respectful in public. Kendrick was on Drake's classic album Take Care, and Drake showed up on Kendrick's Good Kid, MAAD City. Their whole relationship was built on competitive respect. Think of it like a Cold War, with a few small flare-ups here and there, but never total chaos. The first real shot was fired back in 2013 on Big Sean's track Control, where Kendrick famously listed a bunch of rappers, including Drake and J. Cole, and said he wanted to lyrically murder them. Even then, he called it friendly competition. Drake played it cool in interviews, basically saying he wasn't going to take the bait. For years, that's how it stayed. Tense, but stable. The idea of the Big Three became this shorthand for fans and the media to talk about the three guys who had outlasted everyone else to stay at the top of the game. They were seen as the three pillars of modern rap, each one bringing something different to the table. Drake was the hit machine, Cole was the storyteller, and Kendrick was the deep, complex artist. This balance, this kind of unspoken truce, held up for years, until one song that was meant to celebrate all of them brought the whole thing crashing down. On October 6, 2023, Drake dropped his album For All the Dogs. On it was the track everyone was waiting for, First-Person Shooter, his collab with J. Cole. It was an instant hit, debuting at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, which was actually J. Cole's first time at the top. The song is a masterclass, just two greats trading bars. And then came the verse that changed everything. J. Cole jumps right into the debate. He raps, "Love when they argue the hardest MC? Is it K. Dot? Is it Aubrey? Or me? We the Big Three like we started a league, but right now I feel like Muhammad Ali." On the surface, it sounds like pure confidence, but also like unity. Cole was putting himself, Drake, and Kendrick in their own league, on top of the rap world. For a lot of people, it was a moment to celebrate, finally hearing an artist confirm what fans had been saying for years. Drake seemed to agree, using his verses to talk about his own massive success, even comparing himself to Michael Jackson. But there was one person who wasn't celebrating. Somewhere out there, Kendrick Lamar heard those lines, and he didn't take them as a sign of respect. He heard a challenge. 5 months passed. Life went on. Then on March 22nd, 2024, Future and Metro Boomin dropped a collab album, We Don't Trust You. And on that album was a track called Like That, with a surprise verse from Kendrick Lamar. And it was absolutely nuclear. Kendrick's verse was a direct missile aimed at First-Person Shooter. He came with an aggression that had been missing from the mainstream, rapping, "Motherfuck the Big Three, nigga, it's just big me." He didn't just reject the idea of sharing the throne, he melted the throne down and made a crown for himself. He even took a shot at Drake's album title, rapping, "For all your dogs getting buried, see Pet Cemetery." The message couldn't be clearer. This wasn't a friendly rivalry anymore. This was war. The hip-hop world just exploded. Kendrick drew a line in the sand, and because of his verse, J. Cole was standing right there next to Drake. The pressure was on. Everyone wanted to see a lyrical battle, and for a second, it looked like we were going to get it. On April 5th, 2024, J. Cole dropped a surprise mixtape called, you guessed it, Might Delete Later. The last song, 7-Minute Drill, was a direct shot back at Kendrick. Cole went after Kendrick's albums, calling his latest one tragic and saying his star was fading. He rapped, "He averaging one hard verse like every 30 months or something? If he wasn't dissin', then we wouldn't be discussing him." The rap world held its breath. It was on. But then, just as fast as it started, it was over. Only 2 days later, on stage at his own Dreamville festival, J. Cole did something you almost never see in a modern rap beef. He apologized. He told the crowd that dropping the diss was the lamest, goofiest shit he'd ever done. He said the last 2 days felt terrible, and the whole thing didn't sit right with his spirit. He gave Kendrick his props, calling him one of the greatest to ever do it, and officially bowed out. He later pulled 7-Minute Drill from all streaming services. J. Cole's decision split everyone right down the middle. Some fans clapped for his maturity and for prioritizing his own peace of mind over what the industry wanted. Others said it was weak, that he backed down from a fight he knew he couldn't win. What do you think? Was Cole's apology a moment of real self-awareness, or did he just fold under the pressure? Let me know in the comments. J. Cole dipping out of the beef changed everything instantly. What started as a Big Three showdown, a clash of the titans, was now a straight-up one-on-one fight. Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. Cole had accidentally helped paint a target on both his and Drake's backs. And then, after the first shot was fired, he just walked away, leaving Drake to handle the heat alone. And that heat was brutal. With Cole out of the picture, Kendrick aimed his entire lyrical arsenal at Drake. He dropped Euphoria, a 6-minute takedown of Drake's entire character, followed by 616 in LA. Drake fired back with push-ups and tailor-made freestyle, but Kendrick was relentless, dropping Meet the Grams and the viral hit Not Like Us, which were filled with incredibly serious and damaging accusations. The beef got personal in a way we haven't seen in a long time. Looking back, J. Cole's choice to step away seems less like a retreat and more like he saw what was coming. As he rapped on a later track, "I pulled the plug because I've seen where that was about to go." The craziest part of this whole thing is that J. Cole's verse on First-Person Shooter was probably meant to be a statement of unity. It was a nod to their shared greatness, an attempt to cement their legacy together. Instead, it was the spark that started a civil war in hip-hop's elite. It dissolved the very big three it was trying to praise, and created a huge rift between two artists who had been allies for years. J. Cole, a guy known for being thoughtful and non-confrontational, found himself at the center of a massive beef, and it was a role he clearly hated. His quick exit wasn't just about his own peace, it was him recognizing that this wasn't his fight. But by stepping into the ring, even for just a moment, he accidentally set the stage for one of the wildest lyrical brawls in recent memory, changing the landscape and the relationships between the three biggest rappers of a generation forever.